and I went on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries.
A vote for Trump means your groceries will be cheaper. It'll also bring your grocery bill way down. I have more complaints on groceries.
When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs.
Where the price of bacon, the price of lettuce, the price of tomatoes, bacon, lettuce, tomatoes, everything is so much higher than it ever was.
We're going to bring those prices way down.
Because people can't afford their groceries, and they're going to be affording their groceries very soon.
All right, so lowering grocery costs was a whole lot easier when it was just a campaign talking point. But in his Time Person of the Year interview, Donald Trump finally admits it's very hard to bring those prices down. He also said energy is going to bring costs down and a better supply chain. He's already promised to boost oil and gas production. But here's the thing to keep in mind. American energy production is already at an all-time high. I want to bring in Justin Wolfers, a professor of economics and public policy at the University of Michigan, and Peter Goodman, global economics correspondent for the New York Times. He's also the author of the book, How the World Ran Out of Everything. Justin, so gas prices are down from last year, but according to the new inflation report, overall food costs are still climbing. If lower energy costs are the solution to high grocery prices, then why aren't Americans feeling that right now, since we are at an all-time high in production?
Well, realize U.S. oil production doesn't actually do much for U.S. energy prices. Energy is bought and sold in the global market. That actually has really big implications for Trump's promise that he would bring down energy prices. It's not enough just to boost U.S. production. He has to boost it by so much that he would have an enormous impact on global production. In fact, I did a few calculations when he promised to halve energy prices, whether that was even possible. And I think the answer is that the rules of mathematics suggest it's not even possible for the US to bring down the global energy price that much. As a result, the promises that he's making of some relief at the pump, it could happen, but that's going to have a lot more to do with what happens in the Middle East than what happens in the United States.
So, Peter, the other aspect of Trump's economic plan is tariffs, and yet I think most economists agree that under Trump's tariff plans, those costs would be ultimately passed on to the consumers. It would be the exact opposite of lowering goods at the grocery store.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we buy a lot of food from Canada, from Mexico. I mean, Trump's talking about tariffs not just on Chinese imports, and most people think that that will actually happen in some fashion. But if you believe that there's any reality to this threat to put 25% tariffs on goods coming in from Canada and Mexico, that's definitely going to make prices go up. I mean, there's a lot of joking about avocados and tequila, margaritas at the Super Bowl are going to be more expensive. Listen, we get something around half of our fruit and vegetables, fresh fruit and vegetables coming in from Mexico. We get 11% of our energy from Canada. If you put 25% tariffs, if you put any tariff on this stuff, you're definitely going to see rising consumer prices, and that's going to undercut precisely the thing that put Donald Trump back in the White House.
Let me ask you, Justin, about this donation by Meta. It announced that it donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund just weeks after Mark Zuckerberg flew down to meet with Trump in Mar-a-Lago. What do you make of this? I think the average person sees this and probably thinks there is something sinister here, but give us your read on it.
Well, there's both something not at all sinister and something really quite worrying. You put $1 million in towards the coronation, and you don't actually get much for that. It's not a lot of money in Washington speak, and it's not going directly to a campaign. It's not unusual for corporations to help in this sort of setting. So there's not much here going on. The flip side, look, Zuckerberg decided he wanted to be out of politics, didn't want to play a role at all. And what we now have is a string of titans of industry basically realizing that they have to send a few bucks towards the sorts of causes that Trump values in order to not incur the wrath of the incoming president. That really worries me. That's the first step towards crony capitalism. Look, my advice to Zuckerberg and to any corporate titan out there is if you want to be apolitical, the way to do that is to not be political.
So it also is not just Meta, it seems. I mean, you've got Jeff Bezos and Amazon doing it. They donated $1 million, and that compared to $276,000 back to Joe Biden's inaugural committee. It seems like tech companies here in particular are kind of trying to get involved in this particular, I don't know if you want to call it this, but they're at least certainly trying to curry favor with the president.
Oh, and how? I mean, this is like the Olympics of ingratiating yourself, by the billionaire class. You think about it, and we think Bezos, of course, is the founder of Amazon. He's the owner of the Washington Post. He also runs a space exploration company that competes with Elon Musk's company. Now, what's Musk doing? He's got a deal in Mexico to build Teslas that he's not moving on at all. Partially, that's a softening of the market for electric vehicles. Partially, it seems to be he doesn't want to upset Donald Trump at a time that he's talking about putting tariffs on Mexican goods. Meanwhile, you get Bezos wading into the Washington Post controversy over not, endorsing Kamala Harris during the campaign. You've got the two wealthiest people on earth competing with one another to see who can be kinder to the president-elect. I mean, call it what you want, but it's quite an achievement.
Quite an achievement and unsettling. I mean, you have to think about it because these are at least two very public profile people. I can only imagine people that we don't even know, people who we don't know the names of, what they're probably doing behind the scenes as well.
Oh, I don't know about you. I think they're just doing it because they want good government.
All right.
I mean, look, let's get real. I mean, the billionaire class gives money to powerful politicians because they expect something in return. They expect that the rules will be written further in their favor. And the rest of us, we're not at Mar-a-Lago listening to these conversations.
You haven't cut a check yet to the committee.
I got some quarters for my couch, maybe.
Wait, Justin, have we ever seen executives try to cozy up to a president quite like this? I mean, to Peter's point, it is something that happens. Powerful people with a lot of money want to curry favor with politicians. That's why they give it to them. But have we seen it on this scale before?
We've never seen it on this scale. We've never seen it so transparently. We know why, and it's very much related to what Peter just said. When you look at the rate of return to political investments currying favor, it's actually remarkably high, and it's because Washington has huge effects on markets. And for CEOs, they've got two choices. It's create a better mousetrap and compete in the market, or go off to Washington and see if you can get rules changed in a way that are going to help your firm and harm others. So to my friends on the right, those who believe in market forces, this is a move away from market forces, from market competition to political competition. And we economists tend to think that market competition is what creates low prices and good products for the rest of us.
Do you see other issues that could arise from the corporate community in the way that they are reacting to Donald Trump that could be problematic?
I mean, it's the perennials, right? This is the season where the billionaire class writes the checks and they pretend that ideology is what matters. What matters is tax cuts and deregulation. That's what the most wealthy and powerful people actually want, and that's what Trump has signaled he's willing to give.
How much deregulation is there left out there to deregulate?
Well, I mean, now we got a whole agency that didn't even exist, right? That's supposed to be whacking other agencies.
Right. So there's a long way to go in their eyes.
Well, these tax cuts alone, you know, you're talking about $1.5 trillion worth of tax cuts, mostly lavished on people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. And to say nothing of Mark Benioff, who owns Time Magazine, that happens to have just named Donald Trump Person of the Year. Oh, what a coincidence. You know, this is the time of year where the people who are in position of resources are using them in the political system to try to get what they want. Tax cuts, deregulation, that's forever.